Hey guys, can you hear me? Can you see me? Been looking forward to you guys. Been getting ready. No, seriously, I've been driving. Sorry. I was driving to the work this morning. I was so looking forward to this. It was hyper procrastination where I was doing it once a week, planned to do twice a week. Now I'm going to do it these videos every day, and suddenly I'm looking forward to it in the morning, and I'm looking forward to it whole day in work. So can't wait. Wrote 15 pages today, which I want to be my new standards, gunning up for 20 pages today, at least 5 times a week. But mostly dialogue, so only like 6,000 words. I love to write 10,000 words 5 days a week for now. Not doing it yet, just gunning for it. Hopefully in future I'll manage to do 7 days a week. In the meantime, there's a recording for our part 2. Fucking people. They had to go. I'm recording for 1 minute and 16 seconds, and fucking people interrupting already. No, fuck them. Ignore them. La 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 la. Fuck, I hope it's not picking up. Hold on. Fuck him. Let's go with the story. Last part we started anew. We told a story of Cyril and Jim and how they actually met in the unit. Special unit in King's Forces. We were introduced to our city and showcase city. Last time we saw Cyril, our main character, in action. We implied our villain Jim. We implied that we showed they met before. In fact, they might even be friends. At least, not initially, but surely they got friends. We get to there. They became friends. We get to there later. I should remember to introduce myself. My name is Matthew. Hi. I'm gonna read to you my story. Story in progress, still so far. Cracked 700 pages. Remind you, it was supposed to be 200 pages short story. I'm starting to get suspicious that I might be a discovery writer. And as always, you're always free to subscribe, always free to comment. Praise will make, however, one thing, praise will make me feel good, criticism will make me good. So please, if you have anything to say or any suggestion, especially in terms of naming those. In second draft, I'm gonna be making chapters. I'm not doing that now. I'm just trying to get in the flow and write as much as I can. I know it's not about quantity, it's about quality, but law of average states that basically more attempts you have, bigger chance you get it right. Also, you learn by doing. So I'm not even in first draft. I just go what comes out. You can tell, but before that, I think I'm gonna call today's part King and Rat, Master of Shadows. Master of Shadows is a good one. We'll get introduced to a character who runs name for this part. In the meantime, thank you guys for coming. Thank you for allowing me to tell you this story. Hope you'll enjoy it as much as I enjoy reading it for you, of course, writing it. This is Ember Regrets, Draft 1, Part 2. Fear the gods! Priest yelled above the battleground. Fear the loyalist gods as they slay our enemies! Hard to tell if troops took Priest yelling too hard or not. They kept pushing while rebels refused to leave the walls. It was a question of time, no doubt, but Espercote had some of the best defensive capabilities in country. Every defender with good high ground had prides of hundreds below. Even though King's troops seemed to be endless, life of every loyal soldier taken by terrorists was insult to crown and lands of Beson itself. Rebels knew it damn well, and at times it seemed like they cared more about murdering King's men more than actual defense of the city they usurped. I should be there. Young man, barely more than a boy, sitting at snow-white horse, silver-plated armor shined brightly. as if full moon descended in the middle of the day and landed on tall hill. "My lord!" General by his side seemed rather confused. "I should be down there, damn it." Well dressed and washed, and yet there was no trace of pretension in his voice. There was no place in the world he desired more than heat of battle, it seemed. In fact, one would argue that there was far more in his voice. Guilt, perhaps? "Well, I'm going." Young man clenched reins, moment from riding ahead at full speed, when man at his left spoken. Loud and firm, almost as strict as a teacher making order in class. "You are needed here, sire." It sounded like order. Some had no doubt it was. "My men are dying, Rufus." "Soldiers, my lord." He corrected him without a hint of shame. And this plays our boldness that caused many others their head, if they were lucky, that is. And yet, instead of ordering his execution on the spot, young man listened. An old one continued. "Soldiers in midst of a mission, proving their bravery, their loyalty. Would you imply that you trust them so little, you deny them their chance to prove themselves in the eye of gods?" It was clear that Rufus is getting through. No need to slow down now. "Is it fair for those warriors to deny their warriors to be denied their chance to become heroes? While avatar of God's will is right there, their own king?" Lucius signed. "I know you're right, Rufus." He let go of reins, and his head sank lower. Eyes still locked with his troops. Seemed even more sad than before. "But they are fighting for me, aren't they?" "No, they really are not." This time, it seemed like General will reach for his sword and slay Rufus without an order. Not that anyone would miss King of Shadows. "How dare you!" Timeo said. "Quiet, Timeo!" Lucius shot his high general without even looking at him. Something his father wouldn't do in wildest dream. But Leo Raphael died while Lucius was still a child, assassinated by treacherous swine. I beg you for forgiveness, my lord," Timeo stayed corrected, and firmly reminded. There truly was somebody, single person in whole wide world, possibly, who adored Rufus the Scum. Just one of the oceans of lovely names that he collected since he created his web of spies. Some he was given long before. "Apologize to Rufus, Timeo." That one surprised both of them. "I will need both of you to protect me. You should be friends." Judging by Timeo's face, he was either ready to kill himself to escape humiliation, or simply explode on the spot. "No need for such gestures among true friends." Rufus, with surprising amount of kindness. "His Majesty is right. We are fighting for the same thing, aren't we, Timeo?" Mere thought of considering the Scum his comrade was less appealing than diving into a sewer, but alas, as long as it pleases the sire, Timeo decided to swallow his pride for once. "Yes, Rufus, yes we are. Please forgive me my anger." "Forgiven, forgotten." To Lucius's joy, both men truly laughed as old friends. Timeo didn't forgive, and he will never forget. Ever. "What is it, Rufus?" "My lord." "What are my men fighting for?" "That is rather simple, my lord. They are fighting for tomorrow." "For tomorrow?" Lucius was rightly confused. Timeo would never admit it aloud, but he was rather interested where could he be going with this. From healthy children, the future of whole world. All living beings strive to find hope, tangible chance to banish evil and ensure that all good in universe will prevail. In short, they are fighting for better tomorrow, and they'll need your guidance." Timeo felt like throwing out, but as per usual, Lucius was hanging out on Ratcatcher's every word. That one was not an insult. And much as was Timeo worried about the young king's attachment to Rufus and his army of rogues, it wasn't very hard to see why that is. It was Rufus who tracked down Leo Raphael's killers. as he stopped every possible threat to King's life since. He did turn Besonway in city state of fear, but results spoke for themselves. How many times was Timeo preparing to restore order in territories, just to be told that Rufus's assassins are in palace, presenting hands of rebel leaders? Damn it, he even predicted this one. Terrorists took over the city, King spoken after a while. They are heretics, aren't they, Rufus? Churches of separatist gods? Or they are heavily supported by them, so in a sense, yes. What truly worries me are refugees. Whole nations fled. No surprise, when half of the continent is occupied by the Atherhaim Empire, desperate for a new start, and Espercote was among most favored destinations. Atherhaim is everyone's enemy, Lucius whispered. He couldn't bear an idea of turning away from people whose countries were stolen from them. True, sire, which is why our country, all free countries, need to be strong, especially from inside. What we cannot control is hard to predict. Some, like Amisaterans, could be serious threat. Amisaterans? Lucius asked, surprised. No one hates Atherhaim Empire more. They lost so much to them. Largest country in world, in fact, Rufus replied, with gods of their own. While ours were still united, they couldn't take over. Neither could no one else. For tens of thousands of years. People like that, reduced to immigrants dying on streets. How much rage could boil in men like that? My wife is an immigrant, Rufus. Timeo almost jumped in joy. King's son, his most precious jewel. Not even Rufus would escape punishment for insulting the queen. She too was forced to flee from her home. Oh, sorry, that's King talking. She too was forced to flee from her home, from everything she knew, all that she loved in the world. Her Majesty was extracted to safety by our special forces, sire. I should remember. I helped to plan the operation, which is why I know our beloved queen was hurt by men without hope, so desperate, so easy to sway for honor. That is why I wish to keep an eye on everyone like that, so desperate men aren't manipulated by evil, so no one shall suffer like your wife did. Lucius listened, and then he smiled. Thank you, Rufus, for your wisdom and your friendship. I live to serve my lord. Timeo quietly signed. This was not his day. King Lucius, knowing well that duty comes first, only then heart could not resist, however. Behind them, far enough so horrors of the battle would not be presented so clearly, tent was standing. Hidden from sun, multiple women were sitting or lying on beds and pillows. Singers, concubines, actresses, noble ladies or simple maidens in her service. Female warrior Lina was invited to entertain with her heroic tales. Lucius knew his advisers considered him naive, but he was smart enough to realize Rufus wanted Lina to be close to protect her. For that, Lucius could be only grateful. Lady Emily, funniest and most entertaining woman King has ever seen, was there also, hiding her face behind tiny mask. Never understood point of it, it barely covered bit of skin around her eyes, but most men find her fascinating, and most women fantasized about being her, at least doing what they could to be her friends. Agnieszka sat in between them, Lina and Emily, as they were her closest friends, or most dedicated protectors. She was there, quiet as she always was. As a porcelain doll, she was sitting there almost without moving a muscle. Eyes locked with spectacle in middle of carpet. In front of her, another guest. Famous Mage Nadia kept gently moving her hands through the air. Palms of her hands were once facing ground, once heaven, until air changed into water. At least, it seemed. More likely, it was pure light shaping in front of them. Women applauded. Even before dolphins made of silver and gold jumped out of nowhere and began to dance. And then it happened. Agnieszka smiled. She really smiled. Lucius turned his head back, as if he was a boy who witnessed something he wasn't supposed to. She really smiled, he kept repeating in his mind. He turned his gaze back to battlefield. before anyone could notice a thing. Priest Heaven moved from place, still yelling out of his lungs to motivate soldiers. "Hear my words!" His voice cut through noise of war with ease. "God will tear this!" And then they did. Wall behind him disappeared in explosion. Explosion came so sudden that no one was sure when it really started. Most couldn't even remember when they realized that. Some say quake, some say noise. Others say it was when the dust and pieces of road flew higher than wall itself. One way or another, fighting stopped. No one dared as much as breathe in horror of absolute quiet. Then shakes came, and with them, quakes. By this point, men and women on either side woke up, running as fast as they could. Now situation flipped. Royals who had been slaughtered under the walls didn't have it far to safety, while defenders, even if they weren't stepping on each other, had no chance to get down. Most didn't even try, stayed on top of the wall, just tried to get a little further. But even for that it was too late. There was a crack in the eastern wall, in direction of King's army. Not all of them looked at the side of the wall. Some heard yelling or guessed on their own. Crack. And 30-meter tall wall came tumbling down. Cyril coughing. Getting dusty here. And then wave of dust taller than buildings themselves followed him. City was built to sustain siege for months. Not against its own king, but that they could not see decades ago. Walls themselves were as tall as they could build them at the time. But they weren't on the line of defense. So-called inner walls were constructed to go from main ones in 90-degree angle further into city. So even if gates are opened, defenders are able to fire from high ground and punish invaders for flooding in. Fantastic idea, really, as long as defenders don't panic, getting themselves taken over by quick assault by special forces. A lot of them were killed. Most just froze in panic. Once that happened, seeing most of their comrades getting pacified, their will to fight was broken. Royal army had the walls, main or inner. Infantry entered in securing first few blocks near the crack. Airships, previously threatened by anti-air weapons and magic users alike, were floating above. Doors to the city were open. Last moments of uprising just began. "You were right, Rufus." Lucius looked up as they were riding slowly through a hole in the wall. King haven't been in Espercote since he was a child. "I truly am avatar of gods." And he was just a toddler back then, didn't mean anything. Now, closer they were to the borders, taller the barrier seemed to be. Once they were right under they seemed to be reaching all the way. Once they were right under them, they seemed to be reaching all the way to the heavens, covering sun itself. He couldn't stop imagining how terrible it must have been for his army, men and women fighting in his army. Bliss of gratitude took over once he realized they won't have to suffer in bloody attack anymore. As worried as he was to admit the two men by his side, closest advisor and highest ranking general, he felt same about the rebels. Weren't they still his subjects? Wasn't his duty to protect them? After all, Rufus was saying right from the start that they were just misguided by religious extremists, heretics sponsored by foreign enemies. "This is our chance, Rufus," King continued. "We can salvage the city, save its people." "Of course, my lord." He was staring straight ahead, pale as death. "You said that losing the city would be disaster for whole country, plague the morale of royal forces." "I did, sire." Rufus seemed to be more confused than ever in his life. "That we need to get it back or sink into ocean." King couldn't hide his excitement anymore. "We can stop fighting now, can't we?" "Perhaps, your majesty." Rufus couldn't stand when he didn't know what is happening, even before he became master of spies. They finally entered the city, kept galloping, past the army establishing order, past the streets covered in fragments of wall. Some of arrested rebels were looking at Lucius with extreme hatred. Others seemed relieved it's over. They finally reached Land Gate, one of 4 holy gates, ancient entries to the city of Vespercote. Stairs led to her, and she led to heart of Metropolis. On top of these stairs, man was sitting, at least. That's what King guessed. He seemed naked, hard to tell with all the blood and dust covering him head to toe. Only thing clean on him was his rapier, blade almost as shiny as King's armor. As he stood up, he did his best to clean his face. That was when Rufus signed, as if he grew older by 10 years in that instance. Even women seemed to be excited to see mysterious warrior. Miss Emily straight out laughed. Covered her mouth, she kept chuckling, looking at Rufus for some reason. Man walked towards them and bent his knee. Intimidating he was. It was act of kneeling in front of sire that seemed to make him proud. Lucius saw people to take so much joy in serving him. Lucius saw few people to take so much joy in serving him, protecting him, making his wishes true. But only one group seemed to take outright fanatical pleasure in their service. Royal Musketeer! She understood language well. That he knew. Speaking was giving her problem, even without her thick accent. Figures, she didn't talk much, but it seemed like she was somebody. But now it seemed like she was somebody completely else. Right side of her face was covered by hair, as usual. Left eye, though, locked with dirty man on his knee. Huh? My love! Queen came closer and took good look. Could it be that she recognized him? When he didn't, Lucius almost fell from horse in sudden burst of shame. King's Musketeer! This time Lucius was sure. She said it with excitement. Is it true? Are you one of my musketeers? One of mine, actually. Never seen Rufus so tired. I'm afraid. Raise your head, soldier. Lucius couldn't wait anymore. Sooner he finds out who he is, sooner he can reward him. If he takes it, that is. Even he was sometimes worried by fanatism his musketeers showing when protecting him. As if chance to die for him was only thing they ever desired. Who are you? Cyril Tuved, your majesty. Jim was standing on top of the tower. From this position, he could see whole spectacle, and yet no one seen him. Not that would anyone expect him to be there. Invaders were happy enough to get in the city without further casualties, too happy to be worried about anything else. He hoped that somebody would detonate the storage. Invaders, panicking defenders, bloodshed perhaps. That's what he would blame it on if it would take too long. Plan B was, of course, that Jim would blow the thing on his own. Luckily, somebody did take the bait. Special forces, perhaps? That he didn't expect. After all, this was meant to be great, punishing siege. Not likely that King's advisors would let go of opportunity to showcase royal might. That types of examples served right for both local troublemakers and foreign forces. Ah, there it is. Even on this distance, he had no problem to recognize who just showed up. Jim felt like he didn't even need monocular to confirm this. Shiny, old-school armor like a freaking peacock, surrounded by a whole separate army of elites, watching everything coming close. So not even fly comes through without being ordered first. No doubt, Rufus and that other asshole made sure that Boy King will come through first, further establishing him as a powerful leader. While special forces made sure it's safe and clear, of course. Jim signed. Some things never change. And yet he was smiling. Defenses lasted just enough, so they can move without raising suspicion, leaving attackers eager to get in fast as possible, moment it will become possible. Why won't I greet you personally, my lord? God, I need to do something about Rufus's voice. He's not here much. Right now I'm writing Accidental Flashback, which was supposed to be part of one page. Okay, so like I said about 100 times, and I will say 100 times more, this was outlined and point by point planned as a 20 pages long short story. Around page 60 we get to the point where it would be about half of planned short story. It was supposed to be 20 pages long. I have exactly 700 pages right now. Rufus is not there in any, and there's later, way later, I wrote one page, which Rufus was in, and from that one page I wrote, actually accidentally, unplanned, about 150 pages of straight up different book, which is basically Rufus's biography. Rufus was supposed to be like M from James Bond. He was supposed to shows up. Idea was that Rufus shows up, tells Cyril, okay, I need you to find X, kill Y, and save Z. And that would be it. Well, now that I wrote, like I said, straight up different book, or at least different novel about his life, I think I'm gonna make him one of the more important characters in second draft. More on that in commentary, which I'm gonna be doing. I decided I'm gonna do commentary for each part, probably on weekends. God, I'm a shy person, and I'm a fucking dyslexic, and English is not my language. I have no idea why I'm having so much fun doing this, but I do. I don't know why, guy. I was pumped whole day today just for yesterday's recording. I'm probably gonna be pumped the whole day tomorrow. Now I'm gonna try to write 5 more pages, so hopefully I'll kick that magical 20 a day, and hopefully then turn it into a habit of 20 pages a day. It's not about, yeah, I know, it's supposed to be quality, not quantity, but how do you get quality? By training. How do you train? By doing as much as you can. They tell comedians say, like in stand-up, the best way to get good, only way to get good, is go upstage as often as you can. How the fuck am I supposed to get good at writing? Write as much as I can and read. When I read aloud, I actually pay way more attention, as if I quietly reread it. I think I'm getting better. That being said, I'm rereading these first parts about 5 times. I even uploaded some of them and didn't like them, so this is gonna be probably final take. Problem's gonna be when I'm start reading new stuff. I definitely gonna reread them quietly in my head. Maybe even straight up read them aloud twice if I have time, or maybe read them on weekends and then read them on recordings during weeks. Anyway, I shouldn't bother you guys with that. Either way, thank you so much for coming. Hopefully you had half as much fun watching this or listening to this as I had making this, writing and reading. Like I said at the beginning, subscribes and comments are appreciated. In fact, about the comments, praise will make me feel good, criticism will make me good. Please, guys. Even if you are thinking about saying something nice, it sounds like I'm being self-loathing. It sounds like reverse psychology, like, oh, I'm gonna ask you for criticism, but actually, I want you to praise me. Yeah, no shit, I like to be praised. Who the fuck doesn't? But I need to get better. I want to get better, and for that, I need criticism. Anyone you can. Either way, thank you. Stay awesome. I think I'm gonna name this. I don't think I'll be able to rename them once I post them, but there's always second draft, even though second draft's gonna be full rewrite. So I cannot tell you how. My fantasy for second draft is about half of space and 10 times more. People usually say that second draft is first draft minus 10%. For me, it's gonna be like minus 99%. In fact, My ideal second draft would be half of space with about 10 times as much content, fuck, which is not as crazy as you might think. When I'm discovery writer, well, I guess I write 100 pages and then I can take one page from that, but that one page is gonna be good. So it's worth for me. So this page, I think I'm gonna call it either Master of Shadow or Ratcatcher. This was pretty much a Rufus-centered episode. And yeah, I'm gonna be writing today. I swear to God, Rufus shows up here. This is last time you see Rufus for a while. Then he's mentioned around page 200. He shows up. Basically, there's like phone call or magical codec, whatever you wanna call it. When he goes to Cyril, it tells him like 2 sentences, and that's that. Cyril makes fun of him. Emily mentions him in something. Or Emily's gonna make fun of someone else and talking about Rufus while she's doing that. We'll get to that. And then he's walking down the stairs with Agnieszka, and they talking, and there was supposed to be 1 page when Rufus and Agnieszka are talking. And from that, I'm currently wrapping out 150 pages and more of Rufus's life story. Discovery writer, am I right? I don't get it either, guys. Either way, thank you for coming. Stay awesome. Oh shit! Next time we'll go to the past. I'm avoiding saying specific date and how long it is, how old everyone is. 1, it's harder to write myself in corner. 2, I don't know, I feel more natural when I say before now, as opposed to say, oh, this was 8 years and 9 weeks and this. It's about decade. Basically, we're gonna see our Royal Musketeers, which are gonna be renamed in second draft as Lucerns, which is Latin for candles. There is a reason for that. We're gonna be talking about Lucerns / Royal Musketeers. We're gonna see more of Cyril, Jim, and Huey. And in fact, for few future parts, about 4 to 5, so pretty big chunk is gonna be flashback from after Cyril meeting Huey and Jim, which we saw in first part, as he was asshole and kicked Huey in the face for no fucking reason, because Cyril, at least back then, was a huge fucking cunt, until he became friends with Jim and Huey. Jim is on the other side. We don't know yet why. We don't know what the fuck he pushed into that. But we're gonna see those 3 interact. We're gonna see them on a special, very, very special, very important mission about 10 years before that. So look forward to it, guys. Next time. Stay awesome. Goodbye.